pursuit of heroes, legends old. In his stories their glories unfold. Baz the Bard with strings of gold. His heart cries out the tales he's told.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Meta Report. My name's Baz the Bard and I've been joined this week by Calling Leon finalist Connor McGrath. How's it going, Connor?
It's going pretty good, Baz. Pretty good. Still living on that high. Haven't gotten over it yet.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It was just fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. On the day, seeing you so happy and going, "Get me on, Baz. Get me on, Baz." And I need to get on. And we finally got you on. Oh man, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. Thank you so much.
You're the encouragement I needed. Sure, I made a joke to you on day one that I was just going to keep playing until you had to put me on the stream, and if that meant I got to the finals, then I was going to get to the finals. And compared to my previous performances, like, that was obviously a joke at the time, and it just turned out to be true in the end with how things lined up. So it's hilarious.
Right, so I'll just ignore you until the top 8 then next time, yeah?
Yeah. Leave me alone. I'll get camera shy and lose all my remaining games.
I just hope that everybody else hasn't got the same opinion. No, I'm not coming on, Baz. No. I'm doing the Connor. So what's it like being back in Ireland now, with your win under your belt? What's the community like?
I mean, obviously there's the odd joke or whatever. It's like, I'd say something and they'd be like, "Oh, look at Mr. Celebrity, he's changed." No, like, it's the same as always. Community's fantastic.
Nice.
And yeah, no, really glad to be playing with them. Like, we've had ProQuest the weekend just gone, ProQuest the weekend before, and we also had a charity event in Gamers World.
Yeah, I saw Dylan's tweet about that. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah. Dylan had a big part in organizing that, and Gamers World, the store in general. Really glad they helped us host it. But we did a team trios thing. Now, there was only about 4 teams, but it was still super fun. Like, it was super casual. We all just had a great time.
Yeah, and how much did you raise for charity?
It was €1,100 for Jigsaw, which is a youth mental health charity in Ireland.
That's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Well done, Dylan. Well done to the Irish community for that. That's just absolutely fantastic. Righty, so we're here to talk about ProQuest London Week 2. Should we start off with a place that you know very well? It is Seventh Dimension in Belfast. 21 players. Aurora and Azalea take the honours here. Is it pretty much everyone's using your list for Azalea, or are they've got their own flavour?
I imagine there's a few cards difference, but I know the guys were kind of asking me, at least a few of them were asking me to kind of like spill the beans or whatever. But I've been as open as I can about it. I didn't reinvent the wheel or anything, so there wasn't a whole lot that they needed to swap around or anything like that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Thing is, it's just the tactics. What do I do in this situation? Sideboarding's always a one into certain heroes, and it just to give them, you might need to just change it up versus this one. Quite surprised there's a Bravo, but then again, it doesn't seem to be any new players in your area, so the Bravo's probably feeling a bit safe, as well as the Victor.
The Bravo is actually a new player himself, as far as I'm aware. I think he might be from somewhere in Northern Ireland, because I actually hadn't met him prior to this event.
Right.
But yeah, he was playing Bravo. We were kind of having a bit of a laugh about it, being like, "Wow, look, Bravo's back." And the old Bravo mains that used to be so staunchly on him, we were like, look at you traders playing Florian or what have you.
Thing is, after that reveal on the fifth anniversary show, they'll all be going to Yale for tradie. He's just like, yeah, he's going to be the next hot ticket, as well as the Guardian Master cards coming out. Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. Brilliant.
Them and everyone else, I'd imagine. I'm terrified. I'm terrified for Azalea, because the normal Guardian is bad enough without putting extra elements in the mix and all this. He looks like he's going to be super, super strong.
Yeah. Thing is, everything changes, doesn't it? Azalea's sort of like riding high. She wasn't, she didn't do that well previously, and now, now she's doing really well. But sort of like, you just kind of say, where are the Warriors at the minute? The Warriors aren't really anywhere to be seen. It's not their time. But everybody has their day.
Tugging on my heartstrings, Baz. I'm a Kasai lover, and it's definitely not their time at the moment, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, righty. So let's get to the bread and butter, the top 4. Okay. Oh, look here, Connor McGrath, Azalea, Ian Holland with. Let's go through your record. Calling Leon finalist. We'll say finalist. That's the nicest one instead of runner-up or first-place loser. Finalist always sounds better. RTN 2024 and a skirmish 9 under your belt. Well done, fella. Ian Holland on Aurora. RTN 2023, ProQuest 4, ProQuest 5, skirmish 7 and a skirmish 9. So Ian Holland is always hot property in Ireland. We've got Jamie McCabe. He's got a skirmish 7 under his belt, and Dave Russell is on Viserai. He's got as many wins as I have. Who do you reckon made it into the final then, Connor?
I have a slight knowledge advantage.
How did the game go?
It was super duper tight. I was pretty convinced that I was toast for quite a large portion of it, to be honest. Like it's a weird one where you'd expect something like Aurora to be this kind of like breezy matchup for Azalea for the most part, because she is an aggro deck and Azalea tends to prey on aggro decks because Red and the Ledger's so good. But like sometimes Aurora just goes like instant that gives +3, instant that gives +3, snatch for 10 or something, and you're like, okay, one action, who cares, who cares that it was only one action, you still dealt me 1,000,000 damage. So yeah, no, she's super, super scary. But I did get there in the end. I did make it to the final.
Okay.
Very, very, very tight one with Ian, but it always is.
And did you see any of the Jamie and Dave's game?
I didn't actually. I didn't get to see any of it at all. I can't remember. They might have even been finished before us.
The way Viserai plays at the moment, yeah. But let's see who made it into the final. Oh, look, Connor and Jamie. Here we go. How did this game go?
This was a very strange game, where I feel like I was kind of like mid-rolling, where like I wasn't doing anything particularly spectacular, even in the matchup. Like I wasn't throwing big, huge Red in the Ledgers or anything. But Jamie was kind of low rolling, where he set up a second pounder early, but then like a turn later he set up a third pounder. So it was a case of like I had a big health lead, but he had that health lead back on the board if I didn't kill him fast enough.
Yeah.
And it ended up with this situation where I think I had like probably a 15 or 20 point health lead at one point, and he got me. I got him to 1, and then the next turn he got me to 1, and then the turn after that I killed him. So it was actually pretty tight in terms of life totals at the end. But it was one of those ones where it's 1-1, and he had me a little bit uncomfortable, but I felt like I kind of had it just because I went to 1 from like 10 at the end, and I knew I was going to 1. But it was a case of like, if one of those blues earlier on that he threw at me had been a red, we could have been looking at a bit of a different game. But in the end, it was him on 1, and I saw a knock on top, so I just drew it, dominated anything. He had no armor left, so it was going to be lights out even on a small end. But I didn't know that because I only saw the knock off the top and drew it.
Ah, right, okay. That's fair enough. Okay, so to confirm. Oh, look, you won. Well done. Well done. Gold foil. What did you get?
A mystery. It remains a mystery. I'm probably going to bring the envelope over to Japan and just kind of see if anyone's interested that side of the world.
Okay. So if somebody is interested in getting a gold foil off of Connor, how do they get in contact with you?
You find me on Twitter at Edge of Air. Probably the best way to reach out to me.
Right, nice. Okay, let's look at the meta map. Seems it's Azalea country. I wouldn't say that sort of like Ireland's looking like the pits, but yeah, you know, you're outsiders for sure. So maybe we'll have a different hero winning Limerick in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, it's looking like Ranger dominated between you and Dylan. So well done to you both. Okie dokie, that's the easy one out of the way, mate. You knew that one. All right. Okay, so now we're now getting into the UK. Right, so EH Gaming in York, the amazing Ross Hewitt runs EH Gaming. He very kindly allowed me to record this tournament. So the first game's out. Rounds 1 and 2 are out already. So go check those out if you haven't. This was the meta, 30 players, 5 Aurora, 5 Florian, 4 new. Just like, oh my God, there were so many Florians going around. CMH Florian seems to be the flavour. Yeah, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Runeblade country by the looks of it, but I mean, I think at the moment, Flesh and Blood is somewhat of a Runeblade country. Even Azalea plays a little bit like a Runeblade at the best of times. So, yeah, like both Aurora and Florian are doing like super duper scary things. I do think like I'm glad to see New with such high representation. Because like I do think she definitely has a place in the meta, and it's a weird one where like you expect the New and Florian game to be like super Florian favored because she's just going to put all of his Earth cards in the Banish Zone just for free, but it's not that simple because his blues are really big. So there's actually like this really fun kind of back and forth. But yeah, I reckon we'll probably see those first 4 heroes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that pretty much as the top 4. But no, there's a couple of other relevant heroes. Wouldn't be surprised to see maybe like a Prism Master or Kano sneak in. Those kind of one tricks. Lots of experience maybe.
Yeah, that's them one, Matthew. So right, let's get into the top 4. Okay. So Liam Holden, calling Liverpool finalist, ProQuest 4, ProQuest 5, Skirmish 8. Normally he is a big Guardian player, so he's going to be very happy at the news that came out the other day. Ashkan, Rashid Sanity, he always dodges the camera. He basically was undefeated on day 2 in calling Birmingham on Katsu. Now he's on Aurora. Isaac Fogg, he's got a Skirmish Season 8 under his belt. He got the top 4 last week at Dice Cup in Nottingham, so you can see him on one of my videos. Sort of like you can go check that out. Liam Canning, no, it's not Liam Canning, it's George Jones. He's got an RTN 2023 and a Skirmish Season 9 under his belt on new. His new was a Count Your Blessings new, so a little bit of a different flavour from the Enigma one, but yeah, still come with sort of like you know, assassin shenanigans, we shall say. Okay. So no guessing what hero got through the matchup. It just depends on which yeah. player, if you know them at all. But obviously, you know, so Isaac Fogg had a CMH list, and he's against a Count Your Blessing new, right? So who do you reckon made it into the final?
Well, I think Aurora made it. And I would say, if I was going to guess a contestant based on the accolades, I'll give it to Liam, but that's just a guess. Okay. It's a mirror after all, very swingy. Yeah. Then Florian versus New. I was pretty sold on saying New, and then you said Count Your Blessings, and now I'm like, I don't know how different that makes the matchup. But I am going to. Yeah, I can imagine it makes it pretty long. It's long by default. I'm gonna give it to New. I'm gonna guess it's New anyway.
Okay. Right, shall we see? Okay, so Aurora versus New in the final. Ashkan made it through. I recorded that game, so you can check that out. The end's pretty cool. So Aurora versus Count Your Blessing, New.
It's an interesting one. I would imagine that George had these matchups in mind, though. The Florians, the Auroras, like there was a pretty like high meta representation top 4 there. So I'm gonna say George brought the tools to take it down.
He did win it. Well done, George. They came in the same car as well. So, yeah. But well done, George. George normally plays Ranger. So he's a Ranger at heart, but he took new for this one. Righty. So look out for those games. They'll be coming out this week, all right? The gold foil was not opened. They are doing the same as you. Right. We're off to the East Coast. We're off to Langham Games in Ipswich, a small one, 15 players. This is more what I would see, sort of like Aurora taking a big representation. Not Aurora, Enigma. Sort of like she is up there with Aurora with the most wins from this from the previous week. 3 KOs. A Vincent raises her head, and an Acilio as well. How'd you fancy? What'd you fancy on this one if you were Azalea?
In terms of the matchups, I would say Acilio's great, Enigma's great. Vincent's probably a bit dodgy. Viserai's, I'm kind of scared of him. And I have a natural affinity for losing to brutes in ridiculous ways. So I personally would not want to see any of them. But in terms of what I think made it to top 4, I'll give a slot to Enigma. There's 3 of them there. Surely one of them made it.
Okay.
1 to Azalea. I think the Vincent made it. And Viserai, why not?
Okay, Viserai was Hamish Chisholm Brown. Push the point.
Ooh.
He didn't make it. Chris Chalk on Enigma. Ben Westmore on Enigma. Skirmish Season 7 RTN 2024. Matt Brown is quite a new player. He's been playing about 2 months, but he's got a Skirmish 9 under his belt already. And Daniel Scupham on Acilio. He's got a ProQuest 2023 and a Skirmish 6. Now, normally, Daniel is a Brute player. He's won all of his events on Brute. Yeah, he's pretty tasty on that. So I was quite surprised when I saw Acilio, that he was playing it. I was just like, blimey, I would never have put him, doing that with his former sort of like form. Okay, so
I'm just surprised to see Acilio in general. Very, very well done. I've kind of, he's not one that was really on my radar. He's a bit off meta, I would have thought.
So just a bit of news about the Chris Chalk and Ben Westmore Enigmas. Chris Chalk has got a CYB Enigma and Ben hasn't. Okay, so more of a traditional list, all right? So, what do you fancy?
I think Ben would be heavily favoured in CYB versus not CYB. Just at least in my head. If Chris pulled it out, then I'll be impressed. And between KO and Acilio, well, I had kind of max disrespect on Acilio, but now that he's made it to the top 4, I might have to reevaluate. I'm going to say maybe he made it into the final.
Okay, so Ben versus Daniel, right?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Okay, it wasn't, but you got one of them right. Doesn't count really for the who made it into the final. This is where it counts. Okay, so Ben Westmore versus Matt Brown. Now these guys are teammates. They're the Grande gang. They come from Whitney and sort of like Manascrew in my area. I think 4 or 5 of them made it into the top 8. So they had an absolutely blinder of an event. So well done, guys. Well done indeed. So who do you reckon? Ben versus Matt. KO versus Enigma.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one where I think if KO draws the kind of hands that just let him be fully aggressive, he probably takes it. But by default, I would assume Enigma. So I'm going to say Enigma.
Okie dokie. It was Matt. Well done, Matt. Well done. First big win for Matt. And he gets himself a PTI. Very, very well done. The gold foil was not opened. There's a lot of non-opening of gold foils this time round. Is that
if there's too much of that, maybe I'll open mine at the end. Maybe.
Is it because it's too much of a roulette? Before it used to be everyone used to crack them open because they were like, cards that people were, really searching for. Now it's kind of like, I'm not too sure if I really want to open this. There's a lot of sort of like common equipment coming into the gold foils now.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Is it's like a real kind of low lows, and there are high highs, but I don't know if they're high enough to justify the gamble when the lows are so low.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. Righty, so let's get on to the double header. So this is over on the East Coast as well. A lot of people who basically went to Langham Games in Ipswich stayed for the weekend and went to Skyward Fire Games in Lowestoft. These guys regularly do ProQuest. Normally Matt Folkes travels across the country. He won 2 here. He is the reigning champion, but he wasn't here today. 22 players though, 4 KOs, 3 enigmas, so they're taking sort of like the top spots again. But there's a Dash IO and there's a Verdance too.
Yeah, it's another interesting one. I would imagine the same team are here.
There's a lot of the same Grande
fellows.
gang, the Whitney Manascrew crew are here. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'm going to say a KO made it in again. this time, I won't doubt KO this time, but maybe I'll be made a fool.
I'll let you know. He did drop. So yeah, Matt dropped.
All right, I'm gonna give one slot to each of the two top dogs, KO and Enigma, in terms of representation.
Okay.
I'm gonna vote one for Azalea and one for New. Why not?
Okay, right. So this is who made it. Richard Carr. Chris Chalk on Enigma, Lewis Chapman on Levia, Richard Carr, Skirmish 7, and he got the top 8 at Langdon Games yet the day before. And I run a little casual league called the Baz Brawl, and he's won that twice out of six events, so he's not too bad. Pretty much with Azalea as well. He's very much, a good ranger like you are, mate. And then Shahmir Samee on Vincent, Pro Tour Lille top 8. We don't see too much of Shahmir. He's had to move to Pakistan for family reasons, but he's still over here doing ProQuest, and he's on Vincent. Who do you reckon made it into the final? So Chris Chalk would have been CYB versus Levia, and the other two are kind of like Azalea and Vincent.
I'm going to say that Lewis managed to run over CYB Enigma. I'd say he got over the defenses. And as for Azalea Vincent, I actually had this as a top 8 game, not the weekend just gone, the weekend before, and I lost it. And I do know Shahmir's pretty good at the old flesh and blood. I talked to him a little bit in Leon. He seemed pretty knowledgeable. So I'm going to say it's going to be an all shadow final, Shahmir versus Lewis.
1 out of 2 ain't bad. Okay, Shahmir is a top player, and if you're part of my Patreon, you can get 10% off his coaching skills as well. So yeah, well worth looking him up. So CYB Enigma versus Vincent.
As much as CYB might add a little bit of more of an interesting angle to it, I think Vincent has to take this. Surely he can just chew through Ward pretty easily. Still does very reasonable damage. Mm-hmm. And also, like we said, Shahmir's pretty good at flesh and blood. Not that Chris isn't, from what we've seen in the last few results. I think I've seen the name around before as well on the meta report.
Yeah, he's got into multiple top
I'm still going to say Shahmir all told.
Okay, it was Shahmir. So he may be in another country, but when he comes over back into the UK, mate, you absolutely smash it. Well done indeed. He's going to be the guest on week 4 of the meta report, so look out for Shahmir coming on. Well done, Connor. The gold foil was opened, and it was the Plume of Evergrowth. So that's what he got for that one. So Living Legend Verdance would have been very happy if it happened a few weeks ago, but now that shenanigans is gone. Right, okay, so Dark Sphere. This is the biggest one of the weekend. 44 players at Dark Sphere. They get an absolutely massive crowd for all their events. Yeah, well done, Dave. Well done indeed. I can't believe how many rune blades are here. 14 plus Vincent, 16 rune blades in this room.
18, right? Aurora?
Aurora, yeah. Yeah, I didn't count her. Yeah, 18. 18 out of 44. That's a
big chunk of rune blades.
That's a lot of rune chants flying around the room, that's for sure. What do you reckon? Azalea going into this one, would you like the look of this meta going into it?
Like I said, Viceroy, I'm still not 100% sold. Is necessarily fantastic, but I think it's one of those ones where if you hit him with the red and the ledgers, you're probably golden, and if you don't hit him with the red and the ledgers, you might be in trouble. um,
Mhm.
but I would say, all told, I'd be worried about Florian. I personally am a little bit iffy on Viceroy, but oh, and Victor is pretty awful. But other than that, I would say anything else, I'd feel like I had pretty decent game into. The one Prism I'd probably be a little bit scared of as well, but that might just be me and my Prism fear. I have a
Well,
natural fear of
you,
Prism.
you showed that you could get past them in your top four match, mate. So, you know.
Well, I was 0-2 into Samee before that for a reason. There was a minor miracle that I made it into that final.
Wow.
Um,
got to ride your luck when it's there. That's what you got to do. Righty. So,
yeah, in terms of what's going up, I would go. Surely one of these Viserais has to make it Azalea, a Florian, and maybe Let's just go the first four most represented. I'll be boring. I think that's what I'm going to be looking at.
oh, you
Maybe a double.
should have gone with your gut, mate. Because there's a Ranger. Righty, so Matthew Kenworthy, Matagon online, the Skirmish Season 9 winner on Azalea. Ed Cardle, he is the lead designer from By the Same Token. So Ed basically reps Hanabi Dash. He plays it all the time, and he's getting really good with it. So if you're a patron, 10% off By the Same Token Flesh and Blood tokens. So well worth doing. Emlyn Ingram on Viceroy. He's got Skirmish Season 7. And Joe Wetter on Viceroy as well. Okay, so Azalea versus Dash. You're quite familiar with this matchup, aren't you?
I'm quite familiar with the matchup, and I actually know both of the players as well. I hung out with Matt a little bit in Amsterdam. We have some mutual friends. He's on a team with a few of the Irish guys. And Ed, I had met before in Birmingham. I got one of his cool little Go Again tokens. I still use the little dagger. I do partake in a bit of assassin sometimes, and I like to make use of it.
They are as rare as hen's teeth, mate. Those ones, the Spider's Bite Go Again token. If you've got one of them,
Well,
flipping heck.
I am very glad to have one of them. They're lovely. And I actually bumped into him again in Leon in a side event game playing this exact matchup. And I lost. But I would say, all told, I think Azalea should be favored in theory into like full aggro boost dash. So I'm going to say Matt on that side of the bracket. And then this is Viceroy versus Viceroy. Coin flip. I'll go for Joe. Why not?
Okay. Righty. Okie dokie. So it was Matthew Kenworthy, Matagon on Azalea versus Emlyn Ingram on Viceroy. So the scary matchup that you were saying about at the beginning, this is it.
Yeah, I really don't know. Like, I just need more reps into it, to be honest, in general. I'm gonna say that Viceroy took it.
Okay,
I think Viceroy got there.
He did indeed. Well done, Emlyn. Well done indeed. Viceroy, the most represented hero, and he takes down Darksphere, 44 players. Fantastic win by you, Emlyn. Absolutely fantastic. Apparently, the final, he pulled out some really dirty stuff. That's what I was told by Dave. He said it's a shame it was not recorded, but yeah, can't record them all, can you? Gold foil was opened. Achilles Accelerator. What a fantastic gold foil to have. That would be one that I would mind owning for sure.
That is a really, really cool one. I'd say Ed must have been heartbroken. He was like the chosen one. He could have taken an Achilles Accelerator for his trouble.
Just chuck loads of tokens at Emily. Maybe he'll sell it to you. Righty, let's go over to Paul, right on the south coast. Entoyment Wargaming and Hobby Centre. These are quite new. I think this is only their second event. They had a skirmish season 9, and now they've got this ProQuest. So 18 players. Your favourite hero is leading the pack, leading the charge on the most represented. What would you think about this one if you were here?
I think if I was Azalea here, I'm fairly happy. There's a few that can go wrong. Like I said, the brutes can be very swingy. Florian can be quite rough. I personally really like Enigma. Viserai again, that kind of like 50-50. But yeah, I would say all told, I think at least one Azalea is going to make it. I'm going to be a non-Enigma believer. I think that they're all going to get hosed in the Swiss. And then a Viserai and KO. Yeah, I'm going to say there's probably a 2 of in this one. I think there's 2 of the same year in the top 4.
Okay,
One of those doubled up.
You are correct.
Ooh,
So,
I was wrong about the Enigmas.
Wow. If you'd have known one was Francesco Giorgio, you might have actually changed your mind. Francesco Giorgio calling Liverpool winner, battle-hardened Leeds, and 7 other top 8 Tier 3 events. Francesco is, oh man, he's a force to be reckoned with in the UK. And any event sort of like worldwide. Absolutely brilliant player. Bruno Krakow, he's kind of like a teammate of him. This is pretty much they're kind of all teammates. Sean Nolden's also sort of like in this. He's got a ProQuest 4 win. And Tim Coates, he's got an RTN 2023. I don't know if Tim's in the same sort of like play group as well, but pretty much Francesco, Bruno and sort of like all hang around in the same area. All right.
Probably to take it down.
Take it down, indeed. I think Sean still writes for Wraith Times as well, so he does some articles for them. So he's a fantastic player.
Very cool.
What do you reckon? Enigma versus Ranger.
I gotta go with my girl on this one. I think the matchup is really good. Obviously, Francesco's a fantastic player, but I think I beat a hell of a lot of fantastic players in that matchup in Leon. Players that I would probably consider better than myself on an average day. So yeah, I would say Azalea is going to be in the final. Has to be, surely. It'll be Azalea Viserai. If I have to pick a Viserai, I'm going to say it's going to be Team v Team, Sean v Bruno.
You are correct.
Ooh.
Righty. Okie dokie. What do you reckon?
Well, I said it was going to be 50-50, right? And if Viserai won the other one, then surely Azalea wins this one.
Okay, is that what you're going for?
Yeah, no, locked in, 100%.
Right, okay. No, Sean Nolden won this one. Well done, Sean. Viserai, Big Purple's back. He's picking up quite a few wins. So yeah, well done for that, Sean. Gold foil was opened. Null Rune Boots was the card. That's a massive playable card. That's a brilliant card to get. So yeah, nice.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No clogs now.
No clogs. No. He's got the gold foils. I saw some clogs at EH Gaming. The clogs came out. They never actually spent any resources on actually using them, but the clogs were just there as bling. Right, one draft. It's all we had this week. One draft. Church of the D20 in Loughborough, 16 players. So we've got 2 full pods. Grady runs the store there. He's a really nice guy. When you play in a tournament at Church of the D20, he gives you these tokens so you can then play on the arcade machine, which is like an asteroid. And then you can, just in between rounds, have a game of asteroid on him, on Grady. So, top 8
Sounds
draft.
awesome.
Yeah, he's really good. Top 8 draft, quite an even split. We haven't really seen even splits since the very first one that Battle Hardened Milwaukee. They had an even split, 2-2 and 2. Would you be quite happy if this was like this and you were sitting there?
I wouldn't want to be a Verdant, probably, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely no draft expert. I actually I think I've somewhat foolishly redeemed my PTI for Japan there this morning because I only had until tomorrow to decide, and I have almost no Rosetta draft practice. So that's my next 2 weeks. I'm actually going to have a draft with some of the Irish guys online right after this. But yeah, I think I would be pretty happy to be the one Aurora. And it's also, there's 5 wizards versus 3 runeblades, right? So the runeblade pool and the lightning pool are both more open. So if I had to guess a top 4, I'm gonna say 2 Florian, an Acilio, and a Aurora. That's my guess.
Close. But I would say, mate, you want to check out Simon Nielsen's article on drafting, because he won the limited format in Battle Hardened Leon, didn't he? So, yeah, it'd be worth reading that to, get a bit of homework done, going into Japan for sure. Right. Okay. So this is the top 4. Jason Rolfe for Skirmish Season 6, 2 Skirmish Season 7s, ProQuest 5, and he used to be, like forever, the 90-day XP leader for the UK. Okay, Simon Denning, Push the Point, RTN 2021. All right. I only know that. It's before my records begun, but I recorded him. It was one of my first games I recorded him versus Mr. Dory, I should say. Then we've got James Clark, RTN 2023, and final at last week's Dice Cup, which was a CC event. Jacob Clements, RTN 2023, RTN 2024, ProQuest 4, Skirmish 7, Skirmish 9, and ProQuest London winner last week's draft at Dice and Destiny. So
we have a draft royalty for ProQuest London in the top 4.
Indeed. The thing is, draft is always hard to sort of like really go. It kind of depends on what cards you've picked. So the matchups are going to be harder to do. Okay, so we'll we can just skip on to the final if you like, or do you want to take a kind of like, what do you reckon?
I've got to have a guess.
Right.
Surely,
Cool.
Surely.
Go for it.
Aurora's a one of, or the only Aurora on the day.
Correct.
I think that deck was. I'm going to say that deck was correct. I'm going to say Jason made it to the final, and I think in terms of generally speaking, I would probably rather be Florian than Verdance in that matchup in the draft, and also there being 3 Verdances and 2 Acilios could point to it potentially being slightly weaker than the Florian. So yeah, I'm going to say Jacob and Jason, 2 J's in the final.
Spot on. Well done. Yeah, we kind of saw the Florian.
This is much harder.
Well, I'll give you some hints. All right. So we kind of saw in the Verdance Florian matches that sort of like Florian can kind of like pull it out just by fatigue. Verdance ain't got a weapon, has she? So we have kind of like seen that matchup go that way. Righty. So these 2 chaps faced each other at Dice and Destiny final last week, with Jacob Clements taking it. Okay, so who do you think won this week?
Well, Jacob won last week, and I'm a big Florian believer in the draft. I think I'm also probably Team Earth overall. If I'm going to be honest, I'm Team Ice, but like we don't exist yet. So
end of November you will.
But I'm not Team Guardian. I need my Ice Ranger. I'm going to say Jason took this one. I hope the Aurora deck was strong enough.
He did win it. Well done, Jason. Well done. Fine win indeed. I don't have any notes on the gold foil, but their gold foil last week wasn't open, so I'm assuming that the gold foil wasn't opened here either. So yeah, that's oh no. That's a bit silly because I've got a video, so it was.
Oh.
Aha! Right, let's play the video.
Is this the...
That's the back.
That's the back? Okay, great. All right, here we go.
Big flip, big moment.
Oh, silken form. Okay.
That is
Silken form.
Silken form from.
I wouldn't sell that one at the moment.
Uprising.
I'd say give it a few months. We'll get another Dromai.
Wow, the rumour is we're going to Volcall for the premiere. We're about to see if it's going to be confirmed at the keynote speech, but
I hope so.
that was the rumour. Righty, so might come in handy. Next year. Right, so that's all the games. Let's see the meta map. We've obviously already done Ireland. Verdance takes it down sort of like with Rob Catton at Living Realms. So well done, Rob. Quite a lot in the Midlands. The Midlands still didn't get much. We've had to travel a fair bit. Enigma, Liam Canning, KO, Matt Brown, Vincent, Shahmir, Samee, and Draft with Jason Rolfe with Aurora. Going down south a little bit, there we go. So Aurora, Jacob Clements from last week in Dice and Destiny, Enigma, Jamie Faulkner over there at Board Game Hut, and Viserai taking it down. Sean Nolden down there at Entoyment Games. We have one for London, Dark Sphere, Viserai again. There's a lot of purple going in. Even with Aurora winning, she's got purple on her card as well. So the Rune Blades are certainly sort of like making their mark. And we would expect that. They've had such a boost.
Yeah.
Right, but where else? If you want to play ProQuest and get an invite or qualify for ProQuest London, where can you go next week? So there's quite a lot of draft. If draft is your jam, Incan Gaming Cheltenham, Greek Retreat Sunderland and Dice Saloon Brighton. Dice Saloon will probably have Ed there, Ed Cardle. He'll try his hand at draft. If CC is more your jam, Spellbound Games in London, they had a really big event last year, or last skirmish I should say. Void Games in Crewe, that's being streamed by Az from Go Again Gaming and commentary from Ian Porter. I would say we're going to cover Playo Techet in Malmo, Sweden, but Erica is actually in Japan at the minute, so I'm not really getting the Swedish results. So come back soon, Erica, so we can start covering Sweden again. Mox in the Hull, Edinburgh, that's always a big one. That is the only event in Scotland. Fanboy 3 in Manchester. The Manchester guys are rocking CYB decks, so be warned. And, dude, the Gathering in Limerick. Is Azalea going to take that down?
Next weekend.
Yeah,
we'll see. The adult in me should probably get some stuff ready for Japan and do some like adult errandy things, but the kid in me will probably win it like he normally does, and I will probably go to play games with my friends. I would probably play Azalea, but there's maybe a part of me that if we get those Dash.io decks on time, that'll be a big shake-up for the meta in general, I think.
It'll be nice to see how much she wins next week. Landed straight in, and does she make an impact? That'll be
well.
Nice.
Do the decks get delivered on time is another factor, because it varies depending on the suppliers sometimes and stuff. Like we had it before, where there was some relevant stuff that some people didn't get on time and other people did, and it was like, oh no, some of those people wanted to play it. So hopefully I can get my hands on a Dash.io deck, and maybe I'll play it next week. Dash.io is so fun, man. I like, as much as I love Azalea, one of the things I love about Azalea the most is, the two things I love about Azalea are looking at the top of my deck and murdering people. And those are two things that Dash.io is fantastic at.
Yeah, take a spare deck just in case Dash.io doesn't turn up. Righty, one last thing to do. Thank you, Connor, for coming on today. That's been very kind of you to accept to come on. Everyone else in Ireland, Redline, New Main, Chris, Lahoris, Lorenzo and Cole B for all the information you gave me from the event. And the UK, Ross Hewitt, Cole, Richard Carr, Adam Hale, David from Darksphere, James Armstrong, Marcus Archer and Shahmir Samee. Thank you so much for supplying all the event information. It made it so much easier to get when you just DM me. It's brilliant. To all my patrons, Andrew Rayner, Bolful, Mike Kerslake, Callum Dorling, Darren Burdock Latter, Ross Hewitt, Adam Hale, George Jones and Mehmet Hussain, thank you so much for supporting me. It allows me to travel the UK and record the games. So if you wish to support me, there are two levels. There's a £5 and a £7.50, and that gets you 10% discount off of buy the same tokens, the flesh and blood tokens that you see on my recordings. It gets you 10% off single sales from Thistle Tavern website. Gets you coaching from Shahmir Samee, 10% off that. So if you want to win a ProQuest, why not get some coaching? And every the amount that you pay into my Patreon, you get that back as a gift code for PCG grading. So if you want to get some cards graded, if you pay £5 a month, basically every quarter you'll get a £15 discount from them. All right, so well worth joining and well worth supporting. Connor, is there anything you'd like to add before we sign off and say goodbye?
Just thanks very much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure being on. Always love a good natter with Baz. Probably showed in the interview in Leon. We waffled on.
We were told we had plenty of time, so it was just like, oh, this would be easy. We could just have a good chat.
Yeah. Oh, and I discovered that your name was Barry. That was hilarious.
When Alan said it.
Moment where, Alan said it in our ear. Like, oh yeah, chat away. Don't go too mad, Barry. And me in a daze, I'm like, I'm Connor. Who the hell is Barry? I'm like, oh, Baz, of course.
So there you go. Learn something new every day. Nice one. Thank you all for watching, and take care until next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.